that radio into NewsTalk 1010. I'm here with Blair Packham. Greezy! And then turn left. And then turn right. And then up the stairs. And you go left again. Should have? Yeah. And then keep going. And we'll turn right. And as soon as the red light's going on,
Kyle Ferguson Duncan Williams is an emerging rapper in Toronto who goes by the name Greezy Deckz. And Blair, he was a student of yours, right, at Seneca College?
That's right.
Independent music program. And he's making some noise in the rap community with his witty and imaginative work in that regard. And the other interesting thing about him, not too long ago, he was the near victim of a music business scam that targets newer artists. And so we're going to ask him about that experience, along with his career goals and accomplishments. Greezy Deckz, good to have you with us, man.
Thanks. It's nice to be here. Good to be here.
How long have you been in the rap business?
I've been rapping for about 5 years, I would say.
Yeah.
Just to be solid.
How old are you now?
I'm 22 years old.
There you go. So for 5 years, that's good.
Yeah, ever since I was about 16.
What kind of places do you do shows? Like, I mean, I know you don't come to downtown Toronto that often, but
I try to get down here when I can. Whenever I get a gig opening, I try to take it as many as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I do a lot of shows in Brampton and other areas. Wherever I can get in, wherever I can get, I'll take whatever, pretty much.
wherever there'll be an audience for you.
Whatever there'll be a large audience.
Yeah, yeah, of course. In Brampton, what kind of gigs? Like what like just describe the kind of venues.
The gigs in Brampton they're more small. They're smaller than the Toronto ones.
Yeah.
But they're pretty much just at bars, and they have like smaller venues where they hold like little showcases and stuff like that, where we demonstrate our talent, of course. And a lot of artists, a lot of the locals come there and show up and perform as well.
Right.
So it's always good to see everybody else doing their thing, not just me.
It's a real community.
Yeah, it's a real community.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of the same artists in different venues? Do you guys work together a lot?
Yeah, a lot of the times we'll bump into the same type of artists, but sometimes it's different every time as well. You'll see a more mellow artist versus hardcore rap artists. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of variety in our city. I could say.
In class at Seneca, which is going back a little bit now.
Yeah.
But your raps were witty and smart and creative, but they were also often gangster oriented. You know, there was a bit of blasting a cap.
That's where my influences really come from. Really and truly, to be honest, I'm just one member of 18 Canada Music Group, and a few members are currently somewhere on vacation, and they will be getting back to the music shortly.
An enforced vacation?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Tell us about this scam situation that you found yourself. I was about to say involved with,
Yeah.
but it came your way, right? What happened?
Honestly, I was so offended because like I was in a very tough point in my life. Like I was in school, I have a job, like I have a girlfriend, and then I get an email from somebody who pretends to be the assistant to Nick Powell, which is the co-owner of Virgin Records, right? So he emails me and he's giving me the whole 9 yards, saying, "Yeah, I want to fly you out to LA for 5 days." And this was at a time where we're on school break, and this is before we get back to school because I guess we were changing semesters, right?
Yep.
So I got the email, and he's pretty much telling me everything that I want to hear as an artist. You know what I mean? Pretty much trying to sell me a dream. And then as I read the message, I'm like, nah, this sounds way too good to be true.
Well, so wait, this assistant, this so-called assistant, is offering to fly you somewhere and so forth. But what's the catch? Like, because
the catch was that I had to pay for my own visa and pay for my own flight there.
Okay.
Yeah. So the whole scam was based off me pretty much being sold a dream and then having to invest my own money, which is really the end result of me being scammed.
Yeah. How much money are we talking?
They were asking for $1,200, but then when they asked me, they were pretty much even going willing as to say they'll pay half of it. All they have to do is come up with $600.
Oh my
So that's
goodness.
kind of like the catch right there. So they obviously know that if they call me out of nowhere and tell me that they're about to change my life, I'm not gonna have necessarily all
1,200
the
bucks
right.
ready to roll.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what they tried to tell me is, yeah, don't worry. If you can pay 600, we'll even reimburse you the money once you land and things like that. I was just like, I'm gonna have to talk to my mom because she's my legal advisor.
Yeah.
And I was just getting second opinions and third opinions from my
Very-
friends and my peers, and
Very
they were
smart.
all telling me, like, you know what? You'd be stupid if you just go and do that. You have to at least do your research first and see if it's legit. See if it's really something that is meant to be. Like, you know what I mean?
So did you do that? Did you do some research?
Well, at first, I didn't want to hear what anybody else had to say.
Ah!
This is my dream. Like, you know what I mean? Realistically, if I was really getting that call, I'm gonna act on it right away because it's an opportunity you have to act fast on and know if it's something for you or not, right? But me, I had to take a step back and actually just realize to say, you know what? Let me do some research first. Let me see what's going on here. Let me see who this person is, if they're even real. So I started doing some research. I started looking up numbers for Virgin Records in the States, and I couldn't find anybody, or I couldn't find a main number to contact. I started doing certain things like going to the website and seeing if I could find his name, things like that. Other than that, if something wasn't right to me, the fact that they were trying to tell me, yeah, we want to see that artists are serious and that they can invest their own money and stuff like that. And I was here thinking to myself, okay, if this is a label and they have a bunch of money to be handing out to artists, they're not gonna want me to pay for anything necessarily. If they really want me to fly out to them and be given the opportunity, they're not gonna just say, yeah, you have to pay this much. So what I realized is that's a red flag. That's what we like to call it in the music industry. Those are entitled red flags. It's pretty much things when you realize that it's a scam and you can't just give your money away like that, because before you know it, they're off with your money and you're never going to be able to track them or find them ever again.
And they wanted you to send the money to them rather than saying, hey, we want to do this. You got to pay your own way out here. They weren't saying, okay, so call Air Canada and pay for a plane ticket. It was give us money.
Show up at the airport. Tell us when you're landing.
Yeah.
But give us money and we'll take care of everything.
One thing I can say is that they were very, very professional about what they were doing on their side of things. It was even to the point where it's like, the one phone call that they called me from, they called me the next day after the email because they asked me to send my number through email, and then they'll call me the next day and talk about it further in detail. So when I got the phone call, he was saying certain things like, yeah, we're gonna put you on MTV and we're gonna have you fly out here for 5 days. You're gonna be staying in a house with like 30 other artists in Malibu, and it was way far fetched than I really thought, you know.
So if he had toned it down a little bit, you might have thought, okay, this might
seems a little bit more realistic.
Yeah.
He was just throwing everything he could at me just to get money, you know what I mean? So I knew from there I had to do my research and see if it's real or not.
So you called the record label?
Yeah, so what I did was I couldn't get a hold of Virgin, but then I thought to myself, I'm like, wait, Universal owns every label, right? So what I did was, okay, I called the switchboard for the location that's in Scarborough, right? So as soon as I called the switchboard, the lady answers and she's like, hi, how can I help you, right? So I'm like, I need to speak to somebody right away. This is an urgent matter. It's an emergency. And then she's like, well, what's going on, right? So I said I was approached. And once I said I was approached, the first thing she said, she was like, by who? She's like, by who? Like, you know? Well,
she'd heard this before.
Yeah, she'd heard this before. So I was like, you know, I told... Sorry. I told her the story, and pretty much as I started beginning the story, she pretty much started reciting the same story. She was finishing my sentences and things like that. So she was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to have to ask you to send this email, forward it to me so I can send it to Human Resources because we're going to have to report this. And as well, can I have your demo? She asked me to send my demo, and then she forwarded that to the A&R at Universal.
That's okay.
Yeah. So it was almost like a blessing in disguise, I would say, because regardless, I got what I was really trying to do, which was get my music into the hands of an A&R at a major label.
Get your foot in the door.
They didn't get back to me, but that's okay, because I'm not really like, I wasn't really begging to get their like attention, but it was just something I can say, you know what, that's still something. It's a fair chance, you know what I mean, versus being sold a dream.
It was nice of them to go that step rather than just saying, okay, well, give us the information on the scammer and we'll
And
take
then,
that. Yeah. And on that side of the coin, did you hear anything back after you told them the story and gave them all the details of the attempted scam?
They just told me, you know what, you have to. She felt bad for me. She's like, you know what, it's so sad that people are out there actually doing this to artists every day, and things like that. And she was just reminding me again that whenever somebody's asking for money or requesting money, that it's always a red flag. So,
Well, and you said before, right at the outset, it sounded too good to be true.
yeah,
And usually that's the case, isn't it?
exactly.
The thing is that this business, the music business, is an ego-based pursuit.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, because you've got to have a strong ego to face rejection all the time,
Exactly.
and so forth. But as soon as we're told what we want to hear about our talent or whatever, we tend to gravitate towards believing
It's
that.
natural. It's a natural effect. It's a natural thing that
and
we
not
have.
not believing our loved ones who might be saying, you know, you should watch out for this, and you think
'Cause
you
we
just
feel
want
like
to.
almost it's like we feel
Yeah.
like they're trying to crush our dreams.
Yeah.
It's like they don't.
You're
believe
just
in
trying to
us.
stand in the way of.
Exactly. You're not
You
trying
know.
to. You're not trying to. You don't want to be happy for me and
Yeah.
things like that. But
Yeah.
it's really for our own good.
Yeah.
Well, glad you saw it for what it was, and
Yeah.
thanks for sharing that story, because there are a lot of people out there who will think twice when they get a call from the dream merchants as a result.
Yep. The advice I would give to artists is just do your research and don't believe anything you hear online necessarily, because it might not always be true. And there's a lot of people that are out there trying to sell people the dream. Just don't get caught up trying to invest in yourself too much. Realize when it's a smart choice to make a decision to invest in yourself and when it's a bad choice.
I think that's good advice.
Excellent advice, Greezy Deckz. When's your next show? What do you got coming up?
I got a show coming up in June. It's gonna be another showcase. Hosted by Freddie Fame. Shout out to Freddie Fame. That's my manager.
Nice.
We're gonna be he's gonna be organizing a showcase for artists to compete to pretty much have a chance to sit down with a major label. Like, I'm not allowed to say which label it is, unfortunately, because I'm not allowed to disclose the information. But yeah, that's when my next show will be.
And that's all legit.
Yeah.
We know that one's good.
Yeah, that one's good for sure.
Okay.
All right, that's great.
Greezy Deckz, check him out on Facebook. Greezy Deckz, Deckz. Kyle Ferguson, Duncan Williams, the real name. Good to meet you, and thanks for sharing your story with us.
Thanks.